All right, welcome back to the Veterinary Ledger Podcast. This is the show designed exclusively for veterinary practice owners. Each week, we break down the numbers, strategies, and real-world decisions that drive successful hospitals. From taxes and accounting to leadership and long-term growth, our mission is simple. It's to give clarity and confidence in running your practice. Most episodes feature practice owners. What we're really trying to do is bring on leaders in the space. And we got one here today, Kristen Norris. West Brazos, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I will, full disclosure, right? Kristen and I are friends, known each other for years. I will say that Kristen is one of the most ambitious people I have ever met. And I feel like you have like a goal board, like, right, a vision board, and you like everything that you set out to do, you accomplish. So I'm so impressed with you. And I'm hoping that everyone will get some nuggets from you today. So I wanted to start out, right, taking it way back. So wildlife and fishery science, from A&M.
Yes.
That feels like a degree that, kind of works in a veterinary angle, but not so much. So how did you end up in this veterinary management position?
Yeah, so I came down to Texas A&M from Montana, specifically to go to vet school. That was on my vision board. And when I got down here, I really enjoyed the wildlife and fishery science aspect of it, and took the veterinary realm off of that, which essentially meant I took a whole lot of biochem classes that I didn't need for my major. Applied to vet school, didn't get in first round. I think may have been one of the first times in my life that I was like, what? And took a step back, and my boss, who is still my boss 16 years later, looked at me and said, "Hey, why do you want to be a veterinarian?" And I said, I listed off a whole bunch of things about, how this industry works and being with animals and the people. And he's like, because you did not say diagnose and you didn't say do surgery. So why do you want to go to vet school? He's like, you can do all of those things in this practice with me. Let's build it. And so for the last 16 years, I was a full-time front desk client care specialist. I was a technician. I just started kind of building programs, and then started meeting with a lot of really fantastic practice managers. And I said, I can do that. That's what this practice needs. We're going to build this together. And now I can't imagine doing any other job. That's for the birds. Practice management's where it's at.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But you said it twice in kind of giving that background, the 16 years with the same practice. And nowadays, I feel like retention is hard to come by in any industry. And you have employees just bouncing around, always looking for, no fault of their own, looking for the next best opportunity. But how do you create that within the practice you are doing it for 16 years? What's the secret sauce behind handling kind of the recruitment and retention of all staff at the practice?
It's having things available for growth. So for me, I always have to feel like there's that next step. There's something I'm working towards. There's something that I'm building here. And my practice owner is the exact same way. If you told him that he was going to stay in a, one exam room practice for his entire career, he wouldn't have done it. He needs to feel like he is continually doing that next big thing. So I apply that to my staff as well. They come in as veterinary assistants. They're working towards getting to technician ones. They're working towards, okay, well, now I'm going to be really good at dentals. Now I'm going to be a surgical assist. Now I'm going to focus in on radiology. So we really try to build those steps so that there is always something that they're looking forward to, something that they're working towards. Because nobody wants to be stagnant. That veterinary medicine is not one of those, go to work, clock in, do your job, go home. It's not. And the people that look at it that way never last. It's those ones that come in and they want to continue bettering themselves, bettering their practice, bettering each other. My team is really good about building each other up, setting goals. One's really good at jug sticks. So they're teaching the other ones on jug sticks. And that's really good for them because they feel like, I'm the jug stick teacher. I'm the aficionado here. So that feeling and that culture is really what keeps people in this industry and in my practice.
Now, those job descriptions and levels that you built and shared with your team over time, I guess, how frequently do you visit and revisit kind of those descriptions and showing them the paths and advancement that they have?
Pretty often. I have been blessed that I now have a CVPM practice manager with me now. So we have 2 CVPMs in my practice, and that has kind of been her big goal, is building those different tiers and making sure that we define what's in each one of those tiers and what you need to do. So each tier has its own test. So they're going to take the Tech 1 test, which is great. So they're like, okay, so I'm going to study, I'm going to have this done. They get their 80, 90, 95% on it. And that means that they can move up to that next tier. But we're constantly adding more things, adding more responsibilities that they can do. We just added a new program for clients to be able to book online. So our front desk staff, now there are several responsibilities that they get to have in that. We have a new surgical tower. And so several of my technicians are learning how to use the surgical tower and what all the different pieces and parts do and how to take it down, how to clean it properly, how to assist in surgery with it. So those new responsibilities have now been added to those different tiers.
I always love too that there's someone like the jobs that I don't want to do. I never want to order food, right? But there's someone who's going to be like, oh my gosh, I love ordering food. And that's really the sweet spot, is finding, the right hole for the square peg. You keep talking about growth. You're talking about building on things, switching gears. Kristen, you got anything that you're growing or building?
Yes. So about 10 years ago, my practice owner and I really started looking at different properties and looking for that next big thing. Because like I said, he's not going to be able to stay in this small practice forever. He wants to be the next big thing, which he is. And so finally, about 3 years ago, we really got to head on getting the architects and everything to get this new building put together. And when we started putting together the plans, it was on a napkin. And it was going to be about 5,000 square feet, which is still, we're in 1,500 right now. So it's still a huge jump. The building that will be open within the next 30 days is over 20,000 square feet. And it's a full boarding facility and surgical center. It's got dual surgical suites, full CT, radiology, the whole shebang, 9 yards, second only to Texas A&M around here. So it is our pride and joy at this point, and it has taken a lot of heart, a lot of time, and a whole lot of money to get up. But we're really excited about this big expansion. This is a huge step for everybody in my practice.
1,500 to 20,000 square feet. Talk about a little bit of a change. I mean, how do you break that? Because you jump into an opportunity like that, the financials change, the budgeting changes, but also the infrastructure, the people, the culture, I would assume, have to change drastically. So what's been the ramp up? Because you've had years now to brace for this with 30 days out. What's been kind of the most urgent and important items that you've been focused on most recently with the project?
Not losing our close culture is definitely one of our top concerns. And when I went through and I asked all my staff just about a month ago, I said, hey, what are your biggest concerns? What are the things you're most excited about going into this new facility? And across the board, the number one answer was they don't want to lose the feel and the culture that we have in this practice, because we are that family. We're very close. We work together really well. And so that fear of change, where we're all spread out and there's going to be so many more people and so many new people who haven't been with us, is a big fear. So I've been very careful to pick the appropriate staff to be coming into this building. I will not be just haphazardly, yeah, you've worked in vet med, you're going to do great. It's very little about their experience and so much more about their personality and their culture fit. Some of the best staff members that I've had have come from retail, restaurants, and bartenders. Hire bartenders. They are so good with clients. It's like my biggest piece of advice. Hire bartenders. And they can take out the ornery client, like they're a jack of all trades. They can remember things. They can run cash, like bartenders. That's where it's at. So that's kind of been the big concern to address, is making sure that we have the right people going into this building. Everything else we can teach.
What's one redo? If you were given an opportunity to, I wish I had that back over the past year, going through this building process, because I'm assuming you've had a lot of decisions to make and have to make them pretty damn quickly as they pop up. What's one that you would like to do over, if there is one?
If I could get a degree in architecture before designing this building, that would have been great. Also a degree in electrical engineering and plumbing. And then, because really that's the hardest thing, is I am not a plumber. I am not an electrician. I'm certainly not an architect. So a lot of the things that have gone into this building that, halfway through, we're like, oh man, do we have enough electrical outlets? Do we have, how is this going to work? And it's just not in our forte. So that is the biggest thing, is just making sure that you've got a team that you trust that is knowledgeable about building in veterinary medicine and can be the one that goes, hey, are you sure you don't want another set of electrical outlets over here? Are you sure you actually want power that goes to your electrical light or to your surgical lights? Is that important? Might be. So
We talk about being
Just take
jack and
your
all trades, though, right? Like as a practice manager, you just figure it out.
Yes.
We're gonna figure out the plumbing. We're gonna figure out the electrical. How do you see? I mean, your day to day is gonna change drastically. What do you think
Yes.
that looks like for you a year from now?
So for me, the biggest thing is I'm going to be really focused on the HR tasks. As a practice manager, we're so used to being in charge of a little bit of everything. And I have to come to terms with, I need to get some of those things up so that I can really focus on the ones that only I can do or that only one person needs to do. So when it comes to those HR monotonous tasks that not all of us love, that's going to be my world. Because I'm going to have people that are really good with inventory, with scheduling, with, doing the one-on-ones with staff. Realistically, I cannot do one-on-ones with 2 entire buildings full of staff. I have to trust in my managers and my leads that they can be that intermediary and I can help them if they need any help or give them advice or, how do I word this with this employee that they need to work on something? That's great, but I can't be the person first line on all of it. And that's hard as a practice manager because for many years in this practice, it's all been me. And now I'm adjusting to having another practice manager who is phenomenal. I love her. And she has taken so much off my plate so that I could take on the plumbing and the electrical and the project management for a construction bid. But now I need to step one more back and have her and my manager over top of the boarding facility that then have their own leads that have their own teams. And so expanding out that chart is a little bit daunting, but it's nice. It'll be good to sit back and look at the kingdom that we've built.
Take a nap, right? Take a nap a year from now.
Ugh, naps.
I just love that you keep using the word we. It just feels like, like you are so in, like this is yours, like the ownership that you take over everything. I think that just permeates and speaks to probably how the staff receive the information from you because how much you care about it all. You have to go and do a lot of training and teaching and development of the team. What's the philosophy at the practice when it comes to training and development at all levels?
To keep it ongoing, I think is one of the big things, is that we are constantly offering different opportunities for training for each, whether it's a receptionist or a tech or a doctor. We're constantly trying to find different either online programs or in-person programs or local meetings. My other practice manager, she's starting to attend some of the SHRM meetings that are local. She's a member of our local, semi-local, our Houston group of practice managers. So she's getting those additional trainings. I've got my front desk staff that are currently doing an online program and they're working on it online and then getting together, the 2 of them, to talk about, okay, well, today in my class, I did this and you did this and how can we apply that? So I think the biggest thing is just making sure that it's ongoing and you don't forget about it. So it's easy to forget about it. It's easy to look across the room and go, okay, well, everybody's doing really good. We're doing fantastic. We don't need to learn new things. We always need to learn new things.
100%. 100%.
So with the learning and the being close to A&M, right, you've got a ton of vet students that are kind of looking for externships, looking for summer jobs, that kind of thing. And I know you're great at taking them under your wing and bringing them in, you and Doc. What are you seeing? Like, what has changed with these vet students coming out?
One of the biggest changes that we're seeing is that the vet schools are very, very focused on all of their students passing the NAVLE. And that's fantastic. These are the most educated. They're going to rock their NAVLE. It's going to be great. However, they have not had the hands-on in practice the way that they've had in the past. They just aren't given as many opportunities to really hands-on see how the practice works and be a doctor. So they get out and all of a sudden they're a little scared. It's a scary world out here when suddenly you need to be able to apply everything you've got in that book hands-on. So for us, I mean, I have a student here right now, started this morning, that'll be here for a couple weeks. And Dr. Beggs loves to have students, and it is very hands-on. His favorite is he'll put him in surgery and he's like, okay, do you want mom hover or dad hover? Because mom hover is I'm going to stand in here and I'm going to be right here in case you need anything. Dad hover is, okay, holler if you need me. I'm going to go work and do some other things. And it varies. Some students will start mom and go dad. Some start dad and they're like, oh, never mind, come back. So I think his love for teaching is something that is the heart of this new practice, is he wants to be able to provide a facility that students can come into and really learn so that when they go to their practices, or if they stay with us, either way, wherever they go, they're going with a level of confidence far beyond what they did when they came out of school or in their first few years of school.
I think so much of that speaks to growth, profitability, where you are. With online trading, you're sacrificing a little bit of short-term profits, right? Because it's not everything about volume and dollars and cents. You're plowing more money into reinvestment in your team and growth for the benefit of all, because it helps that individual as they continue in their career. And again, hopefully it's with you, but if it's not, they're going to be so much more well-equipped. And then as you continue to grow up with this, all of that does fall to the bottom line, profitability eventually. So it just, what a great foundation to run and build your practice. And truly, it just sounds like you live by it daily. That's just who you are.
We do. Because it's obvious. Doc could see patients on his own way faster and be in and out of rooms so quickly. But it's worth it to slow down and to get those students involved and really work through those things. Do we see 1 or 2 less appointments that day? Yeah, probably. Is it worth it? Absolutely.
Can you go find yourself? What's the vision? Because I would struggle with the vision of going from 1,500 to 20,000 square feet and just navigating what is that going to look like? Because there's going to be some bumps in the road along the way. There's going to be some growing pains. But what's the big plan? What's the big plan for you and for the practice over the next coming years?
So over the next couple years, I really want to have an established mentorship program where we constantly have externs. We have quite a few now, even in our tiny little building, but I'd like to have 2 or 3 every rotation, have 2 or 3 of them in the building at least, from not just from A&M, but Oklahoma, Mississippi, LSU, overseas. We get a handful of them from different spots now. But I would love for that program to really grow and expand with our building. I'd also like to expand on, we do a pretty substantial volunteer shadow program now as well for pre-vet students. It's kind of funny because a lot of times I accept these students and my staff will be like, they're not going to cut it as veterinarians. And I'm like, I know, but that's part of the thing. I said, I'd like for them to figure that out now, and maybe let's come up with some other options of things in veterinary medicine that they'd be really good at, then have them be that 4.1 kid that gets into vet school first try, and 30 days in, they're like, this is not for me. And now we've had a spot go to someone that's not going to graduate and become a successful veterinarian that could have been a really successful licensed tech or practice manager or any of those other things. So sometimes I accept ones that, yeah, I know that becoming a veterinarian is not going to happen for them or shouldn't happen for them. And they get in here, and a lot of times they'll get in here and 2 weeks later, they're like, I don't know that this is for me. I think I'm going to go become an engineer. I'm like, good. Sounds good. Fantastic. High five. Thank you for spending some time with us. But, those puppies and kittens, all I do all day is play with puppies and kittens kids. They're not cut out for it, but they might be a 4.1. They might be a, genius. And so I really want to make sure that those 2 programs grow and that we continue to do for the community what I think this community deserves, especially being so close to A&M. So that's kind of my biggest thing. But main goal, 5 years from now, I want this thing to be running like a well-oiled machine, hopefully with me not on fire. So if I can look across the kingdom and all is semi-calm, I'm going to say that's a success.
Understood.
I love how thoughtful and intentional you are. And I think that goes, I mean, it just comes through in everything you say and everything you've done and everything you've built. And I just love that for you. And I love that for the industry. Like, these are all really good things. And I feel like, Jharid, that was a great, like, wrapping up question, except I really want people to know about your pet in the backyard.
Oh. Well, of course. So what Megan is referring to is my sweet Gertie Gert. So Gert is an American alligator, and I have had her for going on 20 years now. She's getting to be an old lady. She's going to be going to the vet school on Wednesday to go teach vet students about reptile handling. But she actually is kind of a celebrity at the clinic because she, once after a presentation for the vet school, ate a drain plug out of my bathroom, out of the tub. And so Dr. Baggs, bless him, he's a heck of a man. I called him up and I said, hey, you remember how you've always said there ain't much I haven't seen? He's like, yeah. I said, cool. I need you to do surgery on an alligator. And he went, haven't seen that. And so with a few phone calls to some great veterinarians at the zoo and a little bit of confidence, a little bit of luck, we did a foreign body surgery on an alligator and took that drain plug out, and she's doing great. She's a fantastic gator.
I just love that one. I feel like that's a hidden gem about you, of like all of the things that we know. Like, this is a good one.
Well, I mean,
you don't like play with them. Do you play with the gator? You pet the gator?
And I'm like, oh, of course. No, she loves it. She lives right under her chin. That's her favorite. Right under her chin or right between her eyeballs. And she'll relax. But yeah, I mean, I stood on the backyard the other day and I'm looking at the alligator out basking in the sun. I got a big old tortoise that was walking past. I got a chicken that jumped the fence and was playing with my dogs. And I was like, this is a strange place I live.
I love it so much. I will say, if you ever run into Kristen, she's got a video, right? You've got a camera on her.
Oh, yeah.
So you can always
so I can pull her up at any time and see what she's doing.
Yeah, I love that. Where, if people want to follow the journey and see the practice building and growing and coming to fruition, where can they find you?
Yeah, so we've got our website up, just westbrazosvet.com, and then we've got the Rowdy Paws Pet Lodge as well. Finding me, I'm real loud, so you can typically find me just about anywhere. Around at Houston, we have a Houston Veterinary Practice Managers Alliance that I absolutely adore and love. Big part of the VHMA, so I'm around. You can track me down somewhere.
Perfect. We appreciate you, Kristen. Good to talk to you.
Thank you, Kristen. Good to see you.
Absolutely. Love you guys.